What if I told you that stopping something you've been doing for decades could quietly affect your sleep, your memory, and even your heart? Most men over 70 don't talk about it. But what happens when you stop masturbating? The answer might surprise you, and it's not just about sex. It's about your health, your brain, and your emotional well-being. I'm Dr. Daniel Hartman, a men's health specialist based in Chicago. For over 30 years, I've helped men in their 60s, 70s, and even 90s take control of their bodies, their hormones, and their peace of mind. And I want to tell you something very important. The problem isn't your age, it's what's happening inside your body and what you're not doing anymore. One of the most overlooked consequences of stopping masturbation after 70 is how it can quietly influence your testosterone levels. Most men don't realize this, but maintaining even a modest amount of sexual activity, including solo activity, plays a subtle yet important role in hormonal health. And after 60 or 70, when your natural hormone production is already declining, every bit of balance counts. You're not alone if you've noticed a recent dip in energy, drive, or emotional resilience. Most men feel this way, but very few ever connect the dots between their hormones and what they've stopped doing behind closed doors. Here's what most men don't understand. Testosterone isn't just about libido. It's tied to your strength, your clarity of thought, your ability to focus, your confidence, and yes, even how well you sleep at night. When you stop masturbating, especially if you do it suddenly, your body may begin to reduce the production of this vital hormone. Your brain gets fewer signals that your reproductive system is active, and over time, that can tell your body to start slowing things down even more than age already demands. No one talks about this, but they should. Because the man who still keeps a connection with his own body, even at 75 or 80, tends to have better hormonal resilience. It doesn't mean you need to be doing it every day, far from it. But some level of continued engagement with your body can help stimulate the endocrine system and encourage testosterone regulation in a natural way. Now, this might shock you, but most old men do this wrong. They either believe they're too old and give up entirely, or they think it's somehow inappropriate or shameful at their age. But nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, urologists often encourage light sexual activity in older men as a way to keep hormonal health in check, without relying entirely on pills or external treatments. So if you've stopped and you're noticing low energy, decreased motivation, or that spark of life slowly dimming, don't ignore it. You may be harming yourself without even knowing. You deserve a healthy, confident life, no matter your age. Most men think that stopping masturbation is just a lifestyle choice, something that comes naturally with age. But here's what no one tells you. The decision to stop can have silent consequences, especially when it comes to your prostate. And for men over 60 or 70, this small gland plays a big role in overall well-being. You may be harming yourself without even knowing, simply by ignoring something that once seemed trivial. Let's talk about the science for a moment. Your prostate is responsible for producing the fluid that nourishes and transports sperm. It sits just below the bladder, and as you age, it naturally begins to enlarge. That's common. But what most men don't realize is that regular ejaculation, even once or twice a month, helps keep that system active and clear. It's like flushing the pipes. Without it, the buildup of fluid can become stagnant, which over time may contribute to discomfort, inflammation, or even an increased risk of more serious conditions. No one talks about this, but they should. Because when men over 70 stop engaging with their bodies sexually, they're not just giving up pleasure, they might be giving up a natural form of internal cleansing. Urologists often encourage older men to maintain some form of sexual activity, not just for emotional well-being, but because it supports the health of the prostate. It keeps circulation flowing and helps prevent fluid retention in that delicate area. You're not alone if you felt pressure, heaviness, or a dull discomfort down there and brushed it off as just another sign of aging, but in truth, it could be your body's way of saying, "I still need attention." This might shock you, but most old men do this wrong. They stop completely. thinking it's the proper or dignified thing to do, without realizing they're letting a vital function of their body go dormant. It's not about obsession or shame. It's about connection to your health, your masculinity, and your future. Even the most modest activity can help keep your prostate healthier and more functional. You deserve a healthy, confident life, no matter your age. As men grow older, they often begin to quietly disconnect from parts of themselves they once took for granted. One of the most overlooked examples of this is masturbation. After 70, many men stop altogether, sometimes by choice, sometimes out of shame, and sometimes simply because no one told them it was still important. But here's the truth: when you stop, your emotional and mental well-being can begin to slip in ways you don't immediately notice. You may be harming yourself without even knowing. You're not alone if you've felt more irritable lately. Or if your days feel a little heavier. Most men feel this way, but they rarely connect it to the absence of something so personal. Masturbation is not just a physical act, it's deeply tied to your mental state. During orgasm, the brain releases a powerful mix of chemicals like dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. These are your natural stress relievers, your built-in antidepressants, your emotional reset buttons. When those chemicals stop flowing, your body and mind begin to feel the difference. No one talks about this, but they should. The quiet withdrawal from sexual release can create a kind of emotional tension that builds up inside. Sleep becomes lighter, thoughts feel more scattered, and some men even describe a sense of flatness, like the world has lost some of its color. It's not a coincidence. Urologists and mental health experts have long acknowledged the role sexual activity plays in maintaining mood and emotional balance, even in older men, especially in older men. This might shock you, but most old men do this wrong. They stop thinking they've outgrown it, or worse, that it's inappropriate at their age, but nothing could be further from the truth. Touch is still powerful, release still matters. It's not about lust. It's about balance. It's about allowing your brain to feel joy, ease, and calm in the most natural, harmless way possible. And if you've ever felt ashamed for still wanting that connection with yourself, let me tell you, you shouldn't be. You've earned the right to take care of yourself in every way, including this one. You deserve a healthy, confident life, no matter your age. For many men over 60 or 70, sleep becomes one of the biggest frustrations of aging. You go to bed tired, yet you lie there restless. You wake up too early. You don't feel refreshed. And while most people blame aging or medications, few ever think to ask, could it be connected to something as personal as stopping masturbation? You may be harming yourself without even knowing. No one talks about this, but they should. You see, during masturbation, and especially during orgasm, your brain releases several powerful neurochemicals, like dopamine and oxytocin. These aren't just pleasure hormones. They play a direct role in calming the nervous system and preparing the body for rest. Oxytocin, in particular, lowers cortisol levels, your stress hormone, and makes it easier for the body to enter deep, restorative sleep. So when you remove this natural, built-in release from your life, especially after 70, when stress management becomes more critical, your sleep can suffer more than you realize. Most men feel this way. They toss and turn at night, not understanding why, and never connecting it to what they've quietly stopped doing. And you're not alone if you've tried sleep pills or long evening walks, and still wake up feeling tired. The truth is, you may have unknowingly removed one of your body's simplest, most reliable sleep tools. This might shock you, but most old men do this wrong. They think giving up masturbation is somehow the grown-up or respectable choice. But there's nothing immature about honoring your body's natural rhythms, especially when it comes to something that promotes peace and rest. Even urologists quietly acknowledge that sexual release in older men supports parasympathetic nervous system activity, the rest and digest mode, which is essential for high-quality sleep. It's not about shame. It's about understanding your body's language. And sometimes what your body is asking for isn't medication or a strict bedtime. Sometimes it's just asking for connection, for a moment of quiet release that resets your brain and gently escorts you into the kind of sleep you've been missing. You deserve a healthy, confident life, no matter your age. As men cross into their 70s, it's common to focus more on medications, appointments, and aches than on how we actually feel inside our own skin. But here's a truth that's rarely spoken out loud: when you stop masturbating, you don't just give up a habit. You slowly begin to lose touch with your own body, and for many men, that quiet disconnection can lead to far more than just physical distance. You may be harming yourself without even knowing. Most men feel this way. They stop because they believe they've outgrown it, or because society tells them it's shameful past a certain age. But what's really happening is they're letting go of one of the most personal, grounding forms of self-awareness they've ever known. You're not alone if you felt distant from your own body lately, like it's no longer yours, like it's something you're simply managing rather than living in. From a physiological point of view, regular physical touch, even self-touch, supports the brain's sensory system. It reminds the nervous system that you're still here, still active, still connected. Urologists often speak about the benefits of maintaining intimacy with oneself, even well into later years. Not because it's about sex, but because it's about ownership, the ability to feel alive and in tune with your body, not alienated from it. This might shock you, but most old men do this wrong. They disconnect entirely and call it dignity, not realizing that it slowly chips away at their confidence, their emotional security, and their relationship with their own masculinity. It's not about lust. It's about recognition. Your body still responds, still sends signals, still craves that quiet moment of presence. Ignoring it doesn't make you noble, it makes you numb. No one talks about this, but they should. Because the truth is, staying in touch with yourself literally and emotionally is one of the most powerful things you can do to feel whole again. It's a form of self-respect. It's a reminder that your body is still worthy of care, attention, and tenderness. You deserve a healthy, confident life, no matter your age.